Could lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carumba?
Here.
Councilman DeWitt? Councilwoman Carr?
Here.
Mayor Simmons?
Here.
Councilman O'Flynn?
Here.
Councilman Gibson?
Present.
Councilman Forbes?
Okay. Where are we, Derek? What are we doing?
I don't know. What is this? Oh, public hearing.
What day is it?
Your first item is a zoning ordinance of the city of Bonita Springs, Florida, approving application PD-44977BOS, requesting to amend the master concept plan, schedule of uses, and development regulations for the approved New Moon Court residential plan development located on approximately 1.8 acres on Moonrise Court, strap number 254725B400107.0950, and providing for an effective date. The applicant is here. If there's no objections, and we have a small group, I'll swear in everyone at this time for both hearings.
Okay.
Please stand, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Very good.
Good afternoon, Neil Montgomery for the record, representing Habitat. I have a question in light of the fact that this is a relatively small parcel and in light of the fact that you have an extensive staff report with which we agree, and it's just the staff and the applicant. Do you want us to do a presentation, or you just want to rely on the record from the hearing below and the 3 inches of paper that you have from the staff and make a motion? Or do you want to?
Council, what's your pleasure?
Have staff present, you're saying?
Yeah, have staff present.
You're saying staff agrees with you,
Just a
Neil?
summary?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Give us a summary.
I will remind you, her 5 minutes earlier was more like 10, so
I know.
keep an eye on it.
That's okay.
Okay,
Let me ask you a question. Are you in agreement with them?
we are,
Okay, fine.
yes.
So
So we're in agreement, and again, this RPD was originally approved in 2005. At that time, the applicant was the Housing Authority, and then obviously the Housing Authority, I believe it went bankrupt, and then the property essentially, with agreement through Habitat, is now in Habitat's hands. So they have come back through, they wanted to go ahead and actually reinstate the master concept plan, but we don't allow that process anymore. It has to be done through an amendment process. And through that process, we went ahead and tried to incorporate some changes and conditions that were part of the original zoning ordinance, which mainly what drove the changes were connection to Spanish Gardens to the south. They showed up at the 2005 hearing, and then they were working with the county after that hearing to go ahead and incorporate connectivity or access through that property. So the master concept plan you see before you does anticipate at some time Spanish Gardens having the ability to connect through the Habitat parcel to the south. At the zoning board hearing, there was some concern by board member Worcester on having a proper turnaround for deliveries and things like that,
Where
so.
exactly is the property? And where is Spanish Gardens? Where are we?
So, and I don't believe, I know I don't have a copy of Mr. Worcester's design, but he was wanting to work with the applicant to see if they could do a cul-de-sac. And the applicant has coordinated with our engineering department, and they're able to provide a turnaround. And that was really the only issue that the zoning board had brought up, was the ability to have some type of proper turnaround.
Where is the property exactly? And I know you're showing us, but
Sure, okay.
tell us, how's that? Show us and tell us.
So,
Rosemary?
this is East Terry Street, this is Imperial Parkway. Old
Rosemary?
41 is in this vicinity.
Is it
And-
Rosemary Park?
Correct, it is in Rosemary Park.
Correct.
And it's this parcel right here.
Yeah.
And
And
I
what
apo-
street is it on?
It's on New Moon Court. So
Where's the Spanish Gardens you're talking about?
this is Spanish Gardens community here, and it's their recreation area. And you can, in my presentation, you can see a little bit better. We have an older survey that shows the transversing of a property of an old, I think it's an old road. So it was really important to keep that access. However, I will tell you throughout this whole process, they never contacted staff. They didn't even come to the neighborhood meetings, so I don't know what's changed since then. But that recreational area is still there by aerial photography. That's the subject property. That's an aerial photograph, and here you can actually see that path that has been transversed through the property. And so what we're asking through the master concept plan is to go ahead and allow that connectivity, if you will, to still exist.
Oh.
Again, this is the applicant's presentation, so I'm not familiar with it.
More, Jackie, I think it's in there.
Sorry?
The master plan's in there.
Sure. This was the original master concept plan. And this is the proposed master concept plan before you. So here you'll see the roadway through the property, and this is where it could connect to Spanish Gardens for their recreational area. This is the water management design, still allowing for the 6 lots as originally proposed, just in a different lot configuration. This area here is where they would go ahead and accommodate a turnaround area for delivery trucks, things of that nature. And their engineer can go into that detail, but they've been working with our engineer about doing some type of driveway or concrete apron, so that can be accommodated.
If I could interrupt, Jackie,
Yes.
this is Wayne Arnold representing Habitat. Jackie, if you go to the next slide, this represents where we've talked to staff about providing a vehicle turnaround. That was one of the issues that came up at zoning board. We couldn't accommodate a full cul-de-sac without conceding a couple of lots, which I think we all agree that the need for affordable housing is great, and the fire department had already signed off on our original design, but we can accommodate a driveway apron turnaround for vehicles just to make it more convenient for the FedEx truck or other box vehicles that might utilize
So you're making like a K-turn?
correctly. Yes, yes, sir.
That essentially hits the highlights. There are a couple of deviations that are associated with the request. Some of them are existing, some of them are new, but mainly because, for whatever reason, county staff didn't require them at the time when they were reviewing the application. But some of the deviations are the same, such as, there's supposed to be a wall here, but this is actually an easement, so Public Works can get access to the creek. So, but we've proposed, if a wall wasn't gonna go in, we wanted to make sure there was still some vegetation that would be placed here, because there are some existing homes here. We want to protect them against headlight glare. So,
What was the
Mike,
zo-
I'm sorry,
Mike,
Mike and then Peter, sorry.
I was just gonna say, everybody's in agreement,
correct.
so.
what was the zoning
Including
board?
zoning.
What was the
Zoning
zo-
board recommended approval.
Yeah, so.
Move to
motion
approve.
approved.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve and a second. Is there further discussion? Amy?
Just like clarification on the parking. You have, it has like a garage and then driveway on each property, because in some of the other areas, they wouldn't be parking on the street. It has allows.
Correct. So, obviously, we don't have the exact building footprint on this plan, but I believe the units will have 1-car garages. And they do meet the single-family requirement for parking. So you're allowed to have 1 car parked in the garage, and then you can have 1 parked on the driveway, and they will meet the code requirements.
Wayne, what is Habitat doing for landscaping now? Because honestly, before, it wasn't so, there were issues.
Habitat is meeting your minimum code requirement for single-family subdivision. So we haven't asked for a deviation with regard to any of that material, other
No.
than, staff does have a condition, if the wall goes in on the north side, there has to be a vegetative buffer that
So
goes.
it's what a single-family house would have to do?
Yes. And these are single-family homes, and Jackie, if you want to flip through, this is sort of a newer floor plan that Habitat is looking at, stem wall construction. And you can see the configuration of the garage and driveway there for those.
And also, the application did go before the tree advisory board, and there's a recommendation and a condition in the ordinance that they would have to go ahead and install upsized native subtropical trees. So we are actually getting an enhancement over the code as well.
Okay.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carr?
Aye.
Public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Public hearing? members of the public that would like to speak on this item, please come forward. Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Caramba.
Aye.
Great, thank you very much. Congratulations, keep up the great work.
Thank you. One more.
And then we have another case here. Derek?
Oh, yep, I'm waiting for revised.
Right.
A zoning ordinance of the city of Bonita Springs, Florida, approving application PD 18-55577 BOS, requesting to amend the master concept plan and development regulations for the approved Renaissance at Rosemary Park residential plan development located on approximately 2.6 acres on or at the northeast corner of Streetsboro Lane and Bonita Drive, Stratton number 254725 B40000B or 00005.0030. That's a correction. There was an error. The strap number had been the original had been a mistake. So
Oh, thank you.
Neil Montgomery for the record. I guess I have the same question. This is another smaller parcel where the first phase was done. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended approval. There is public here, and the staff and the applicant are in agreements. So did you want a full-blown presentation, or did you want to rely on the record?
Is this another Habitat?
No.
This is not Habitat.
Yes. Habitat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's do the same thing.
How about the highlights?
So actually, would you just pass out in front of you?
Yep.
Alright.
That's essentially all the highlights, is attached master concept plan, similar design of the buildings. Essentially, this was a previously approved plan development. It's Habitat at Rosemary Park. It's a Renaissance property. So it's a two-phase master concept plan. Phase 1 has already been built out. Phase 2 is what they're coming back in to readjust, is option B. It simply is a new layout for building envelopes, a larger scale product to more appropriately address the needs of the community. Some access way changes. There are 2 technical deviations, but they are ones staff had absolutely zero concerns with. They actually seem very practical given the circumstances. Other than that, they're reducing the number of dwelling units, and the deviations they're requesting, at least the first of them, actually is an increase from the original that was approved through the first master concept plan. So nothing's actually getting overly dense or getting smaller. Everything's expanding in that regard. So actually, it's a more appropriate product in staff's opinion for the area as well. And again, if the applicant is applicable to staff's conditions, staff is comfortable moving forward with it.
we're going to move that big star off the property.
Yeah, there's a giant star there now, but it's going to be gone.
Motion to
Motion
approve.
approve. Oh, second.
Okay, motion to approve in a second, and then do we have any members of the public that would like to speak on this item? Come forward at this time. Seeing none?
One second, you might have said
Yes.
this, but did
Yes,
the
sir.
zoning board approve this?
Yes, sir, they did.
Okay.
Sorry, Pete.
No worries at all. Any other discussion, council? Roll call, please.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
All right,
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Caramba. Councilwoman Carr.
Aye.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, everybody.
No, I wrote
Our building.
Yeah.
Now you get a 20-minute break before your 2 o'clock.
we don't
Yeah.
have to, do we? Oh, you do.
Yeah.
yes.
No. Chauncey's coming over.
We have minutes.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, minutes, do we have the?
Do we have to approve minutes?
Yes, there
It
is
says
one.
it on the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Deb,
Wait, Deb,
motion to approve the minutes? I'm sorry. And a second?
second.
Discussion, roll call, please. Sorry about that. The minutes. Sorry about that.
Mayor Simmons.
Aye.
Councilman O'Flynn.
Aye.
Councilman Gibson.
Aye.
Councilman Forbes.
Aye.
Councilwoman Caramba. Councilwoman Carr.
Right. Thanks. Sorry about that. All right, the next meeting is November 20th, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Oh, zoning.
Yeah.